Hello and welcome to what's going to be my clear for the whole of Crevasse Halloween all of the stages. For the first one, I used the team of Renoa, Charlotta, and Cloud of Darkness. Cloud of Darkness is here for the extra damage. Charlotta just to charge Renoa to do the actual damage, and Renoa can actually kill these guys in one BT cycle. The problem with that is getting her BT cycle to a reasonable amount before you actually her FR gauge to a reasonable amount before you get into the actual BT cycle, because Pod is actually very annoying in this regard because she jumps turns and she can mess up your BT cycle a lot, and Charlotta doesn't help with this because nothing on Charlotta breaks. So it's actually not the most ideal team, but for But this is the team for me personally that can do the most amount of damage. I did try with Camelot there instead of COD, and I found it to be less consistent. Not only because Charlotta more easily charges the gauge than Camelot, but because Camelot didn't really help much. Nothing here can be launched, so he really didn't bring anything to the table. Except for having greens everywhere, but quite frankly I found it more of a struggle and I would lose out on turns easier with Camelot. So I considered this to be the superior team. Not saying it's not possible, I just don't feel the need to bring him here. Plus I didn't need him for point reasons either. Odd is a little bit annoying because she tends to break, and if she gets too many turns in Renoa's FR gauge, that's gonna be very annoying. Charlotta is actually the best one to get turns there because Charlotta can actually charge Renoa's FR by quite a big amount. But that really depends on how your turn rate is looking, so... For me, it was looking great because Renoa got 2 turns back to back. I don't know how that happened, but even with that, it's a little bit like weird because COD is there and it's gonna be 5 turns and I'm definitely gonna break, so she's going to take an extra turn whether I want her or not, which is a little bit annoying, but hey. Didn't want to bring Core here, and Renoa actually is not that good at charging the FR gauge on her own. Like, she does need somebody to help her out. So I couldn't just delegate that task directly to her. I needed all of my calls set up before I started the FR gauge because I didn't want to waste my time doing the whole call is mostly here just for extra damage because it imperils them to will to magic. Raijin is here because at every end, there we go, COD got an extra turn, great, yeah, amazing. Raijin is here because on every one of those thresholds you will get debuffs that reduce your HP, and quite frankly I didn't like them. That's the only reason why, and here I'm struggling because technically speaking another 70% is good, and quite frankly I made the correct decision here. But I was struggling thinking whether I should just charge up the FR one more time before going into the actual... And there it is, those would have been debuffs. If Raijin Call hadn't been on them, those would have been HP debuffs, which would have reduced my HP and the speed down, I believe. I don't remember what the second one is, but the more dangerous one is definitely the HP debuff. Now granted, with this team it doesn't matter because they will be dead when Renoa finishes this big BT phase, but quite frankly, if they are not dead, it will matter. Because those HP debuffs last for 5 turns, I believe. Yeah, the HP poison, I'm sorry, lasts for 5 turns. And they also do HP attacks, so if you don't finish them, you want the wall call. Otherwise, not wall. What was it that one needed? because they do damage through walls, shields. So it was Setter. You need Setter or a freeze debuff on them, otherwise they will definitely kill you once they get out of this big BT phase. If you don't kill them, they've killed so many of my party members. That has been one of the biggest problems. But of course, with this team, Renoa can finish the spray consistently pretty fast. And that was pretty much the first stage. Alright, time for stage 2 of the Hallowed Deep. Yep. Card 6. I chose again another 3-man team. This is 3 yellow crystal, 2 swords, and 1 staff, which is the same amount of points that I got for the last one. And for this one, actually, turn rate is a little bit of an issue. At the same time, not really. You don't necessarily need Arden to start, but it's annoying if Ramza starts, because I personally like to give him an extra turn with Luna Freya. I want to give both Arden and Ramza extra turns with Luna Freya, which is why it's very annoying if Ramza starts, because then I can't give him the extra turn, because Luna Freya can charge up DFR gauge. And by the way, this stage is actually a lot less dangerous than the previous one. I would have to say that between the two of them, this one is definitely the scrub stage. Which is the reason why I have Arden here, because Arden does not do a lot of damage. In fact, his damage is very average compared to most of the other units, which is like a pity, because I like Arden a lot. But yeah, but this kind of sort of fucked Tifa, let's say, this event entirely, because there is no fist anywhere in there, so you can't bring Tifa anywhere without losing a lot of points. And I feel like that is a bit of a pity. She would have actually worked really well here. She would have done a lot more damage than Arden. Arden needs 2 force gouges to deal with this, and that means that I'm going to have to take their force attack, which is the reason why I gave this team the orb that will allow Arden's FR to cancel their FR stage. Because I needed to allow them to get to their FR stage, which is the reason why I have wall on Luna Freya. Because that means I'm gonna be taking their force attack straight to the gutter. There's nothing I can do about that, and unfortunately for me, if I don't have any kind of mitigation, my team is dead except for Arden. And by the way, that HP threshold just doesn't do anything or nothing significant. I've never felt like it's influence or whatever, so I can't say that it's irrelevant at all. And Arden does so little damage that if you're focusing on both of them at the same time, he will only take them down to half, both of them, which is the reason why I'm focusing on the one I know is furthest away. So I'm going to delay that man to infinity and beyond, because Arden does re-break a lot. As for why I built Arden, just because it's one of my favorite characters. He's definitely one of my favorite villains. So yeah, absolutely love Arden a lot. I love 15. I'm a fangirl. So of course I was going to build him, even though I know he sucked. I mean, I built Sephiroth every single time and he sucked for the most part. So yeah. But Arden was useful in this event at the very least, because I needed to... started to realize how much of a gap in my roster I have because of the Dark Crystal. I was lucky that I built Garland recently. Otherwise, I legitimately would have had so very few dark units built up. It's kind of crazy. And by built up, I mean built up to the point where I would consider taking them to Shinryu stages. And I summon here specifically because I'm about to take the force attack, and I want to build up my force gauge because I don't want their force ability to stay for long. I don't want to give them the chance to get their force gauge, because their force gauge actually delays you every turn. So for example, an instant turn will now be actually will now switch you to a turn back, which is never good when you're trying to like hog all of the turns of your force gauge. I did the wall call there because I knew I was gonna get hit with this big attack right here, and now I'm taking 0 damage from it, and now everybody's alive and healthy and all of that, which is really nice. And now I'm just gonna build up my force gauge, and as you see, Luna Freya got pushed back there, and Ranza is also gonna get pushed back, but unfortunately for them, it's Luna Freya and Ranza. They can still they can still build up that force gauge, and there we go. Arden is just gonna get rid of their force time because I specifically chose this orb to be for Arden, so that I don't have to deal with it, and they won't have the chance to build up another force time at this point in time. They are dead guarantee before their force gauge hits again, because while Arden's force time is active, their force gauge won't go up at all, indifferent of where it is on the force meter, whatever you want to call it. So right now their force gauge will stay at 0 for the next 9 turns, and I'm gonna kill them in the next 9 turns. So yeah, at the end of the day, Arden is very useful. How did I end up getting him? I tried to get him with tickets. I spent about 300 tickets and I got so many bad multis. So I gave up, pulled out the gems, and I think it was... I had 140 G tokens. So that's about 7 summon. And so I got his FR because I had his BT from when he was last time here. And I would have to say this is definitely the weaker fight out of the two, like outside of their force ability and the fact that they continuously push you back, which, to be perfectly honest, you could probably take advantage of that if you have, because their force gauge goes up pretty fast. So I would say you could run a team here, something like Reno or something like that, but Reno is knife, I believe, or whatever he is, and from what I think it's knife. I think Reno's knife. So that means Reno is not part of the things that you can run here to get points. So unfortunately, even that is a little But Arden did the job. Like, yeah, it took longer than it would have with Tifa, but hey, win's a win.
楽しかったよ。余興みたいでさ。
So now that the Lufinia stages are kind of sort of out of the way, let's now that Shinryu stages are kind of sort of out of the way, to start talking about the Lufinia stage. So this stage, it can feel a little bit scary at the beginning, but actually it really has only, this boss has 1 gimmick. Well, 2 if you count the orb. The first gimmick is that he will always get those 2 turns and he will always HP attack you. The second gimmick is that he will lose 2 of his and this is actually true for all Lufinia stages. They will lose 2 turns on the orb or 2 ticks on the orb for each player action, for each action actually. That includes his. It's not just you or your player action, it's also his action. And this man, I chose the easiest orb for him because quite frankly he has fixed turns. He's already losing me 4 turns. Like Tidus does not need an Ultima weapon to deal with him. Tidus just needs to set up his BT and BT plus and then BT him to death, and he will BT him to death if he has his Force Gouge active. So definitely Tidus does not need an Ultima weapon. He just needs a couple of turns, which is why it's annoying. Which is why he's annoying and why he got the easiest orb, the easiest condition out of the whole bunch, because I really needed to make sure that he didn't kill me before I started my rampage. And after he needs about at 80%, right? So at 80%, if you have a BT plus team, a triple BT team, you can triple BT this man. So if you have like Onion Knight instead of Kurasame, right, you can triple BT him at the beginning in order to get rid of his orb, and then get rid of him with 4 times this BT. Very simple to get rid of him, especially because he pushes himself back. Like you will see him actually he already pushed himself back previously. He already pushes himself back this time, and he is about to push himself back again. I believe it's right about now once Tidus finishes this one. There he is. You saw he pushed himself back again, and now his orb starts, but it's irrelevant. He's at 40%. I have I don't even need Fresh. I don't even need the Ultima weapon on Tidus. He is dead. Deader than dead. And at this point in time I was like, okay man, you know what, you want to remind us of the days when you were actually threatening in that one Abyss stage? I just let Tidus auto duel, because quite frankly whatever he does at this point, like this man is already dead. He knows. there is no amount of I don't need to think about this very much. The only threatening part I would say is in the beginning, because the orb is lethal, so if you're not careful in the beginning you can just end up dying here, which is really the only threatening thing about this stage. The beginning part, if you have your character built up, he's not gonna kill you with that HP attack. You just need a healer of some kind in your party to heal off that initial attack, and then you can just bring Quistis. If you can form a team around the Quistis, kind of, sort of, like form 2 yellow teams or something like that, I would delay him and then go off with Tidus. Either way, that was this stage. It's only threatening in the beginning. Alright, second stage. The whales. I brought Camelot for the whales. Now I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I did not read these whales' description all the way through, so I did not know that they would become immune to launches. Once they get fixed turns, they become immune to launches, because otherwise they are actually very susceptible to launches, which is why I brought Camelot. I have the orb set on them where they take damage. They have to take an HP attack, a changed HP attack damage, which is very simple. Everybody can do that. And I literally forgot to bring Kurasame, and I forgot that Sid Reigns won't work on the whales. So at 80% they lose their orb. So again, if you bring a rush down team that can decimate 20% of their HP in very little time, the orb is completely irrelevant, because it comes back I believe after 50%, which is like Like, my man, at that point in time, you are on your way to being dead, or you're guaranteed to be dead within the next couple of turns already. So, not very threatening. I mean, it is a Lufenia stage. They have shields, which is like, okay, Garnet could decimate those shields with her bloody counter, let alone her actual HP attacks. Like, these whales think they're so funny. No. No, like... Otherwise, I don't think they get shields, I believe, 3 times during this, what is it called? During their turn, their HP bars. Yeah, I believe, because they also get it at 50 or 30% somewhere along the line, and then once they reach red, they also get another shield. Their shields are very small, like 200,000. Excuse me, did you see Strago do 300,000 there like it wasn't anybody's business? Like, Garnet does 500,000 with her counters. It's not, the shields are not threatening. I did activate, I believe, whatchamacallhim's first time just for the heck of it, and I brought keys. Oh my god, I brought the full shebang. And then I realized that the whales, except for Crossamical, and then I realized that the whales actually cannot be launched. Oh, this was funny. Absolutely. Because after 50%, I believe... No, it's not now that they get 50. No, here it is, right? Did you see? He lost his turn. He got his little shield. The other guy does the same. He loses his turn. He gets his little shield, and I'm set off with my key skull. And I'm about to go into Garnet VT face, and there's their shields popped, because of course. Oh, this was so funny. If I had remembered, I would have just used Sid Rain sooner to get the summon to like pop faster, because quite frankly. But instead, and look, they pushed themselves back too. It's like they're saying, I want to die. And here's where I actually find out that they cannot be launched when they have. Oh man, this fight was funny. This fight was so funny because I came so over and at the same time underprepared. But that's Lufenia for you nowadays. It's like, what do you expect? You're not even remotely the highest difficulty. You're getting to the point where you're kind of scrub. It's like, yeah. I wasn't concerned. Cam and Garnet are Shinryu difficulty units. They're not gonna be taken out by Lufenia stages. So I just allowed auto-duel. I should have just auto-dueled ages ago, but not like it matters. Whatever Garnet would have done in this BT phase would have killed them anyway. Yeah, pretty funny. I found the stage to be extremely funny. Because I've never found these whales to be threatening, but... Ah, boy. Alright, the actual threatening Lufenia. Kind of, sort of, not really, because this orb is actually not lethal. So what's the problem with this orb then? It's just that it's stressful and these guys can actually paralyze you. They have a lot of nasty debuffs. I wasn't a fan of them, and I needed to bring Zac here. I felt the need to bring Zac because otherwise their AoE HP attacks killed me quite a couple of times. It wasn't their orb, because again, the orb is not lethal, but even that is a big fat HP attack, and if you have no mitigation, or if you have just Gladio, Gladio's gonna survive, but everybody else is going down. It was kind of funny the first time I ran into this. Plus, this is a stage where I literally have triple I wanted to get a lot of points somewhere, and this is the stage that has 3 times the crystal and 3 times the weapon, so they're all greatsword users, all black crystal. I brought Gladio instead of Oren because, oh yeah, and there's one of their gimmicks. They get 3 turns in a row, and you need kind of sort of a counter if you actually want to keep their gimmick in check. And I put their gimmick, I believe this is a pretty easy orb. Yeah, this one was the easiest orb, I think. The one where you just had to do bravery damage and it goes up by 2. Because I literally needed to... First of all, I was not aware of the fact that the orb was not lethal. That was one problem. And look at them. Oren and Gladio do not cover the person who is targeted by that second HP attack, which is the reason why Zack is so imperative for being here, because Zack forces them to target him. And he also cannot be killed by their attacks. So Zack is really the saving grace of this team, because a cover tank will not cover you from those HP attacks, which is kind of annoying. Also, I didn't particularly like the idea of Oren being here, because they can actually stun a person. One of their debuffs is a stun, and in this case nobody was stunned, which is unfortunate, because I would have liked to show you that they actually have a stun debuff, and that's the reason why I like Gladio better than Oren, because Gladio is actually immune to that stun. They also have that very nasty debuff over there, which allows you to basically not do any bravery damage, I believe it is. One of them is that you can't do bravery damage, and the other one is that, or do very little bravery damage, and the other one is, I believe, a poison. Which is pretty annoying, I have to admit. I can still do a lot of damage because Garland and Zack BT, like, those really do boost up my damage by a lot. And they do this little shenanigan where they swap turns a couple of times, jump in front of you, I mean, sorry, a couple of times. So I think 2 times, yeah. So this is the second time that they're doing their little shenanigans, and this is where I found out that the orb was not lethal, because the orb went off. Even if the orb was, it still got triggered, so they still cleanse their debuffs, and they, and there it is, 0 bravery. Did you see that? 0 HP damage because his bravery was reduced, because that thing, gives you 0 bravery. Also, yeah, that was the HP debuff, so that is also the poison debuff, which is nasty because, as you know, Gladio cannot be debuffed. That debuff will guarantee land on you, so you will be doing shite for bravery damage at 1 turn. Like, Zack and Garland are no joke in terms of buffs, and you can still do 0 bravery damage with them. And yeah, for the rest of the fight, it's actually safe. If you get to this point, you can just burst them down, and at this point in time they will not be jumping turns anymore. So this is the safer part of the battle, in essence, and the Zack can do enough damage to kill them, but you do need defenses. And I found Zack to be the best one because they actually go through Wall's HP shields. So unfortunately, I was here with Wall. I felt like I would be safe with him, but then it turned out, nope, actually, I'm not safe with Wall. So if I wasn't safe with an HP shield, I knew I needed somebody to actually be able to tank the damage, which is, of course, Zack's best feature. And I was here with Bosch too. Bosch also kind of worked, but Bosch does shit damage compared to Zack. So, yeah. I was, of course, going to pick Zack over Bosch. Because I actually wanted to kill the enemy in a timely manner. And yeah, I just summon here and he's dead because the summon does obscene amounts of damage. Like, look at that shit. Crazy. And yeah, that was pretty much this stage. Alright. 180. I was questioning whether I should even post these. I mean, seriously, at this point in time, whatever is left, whatever your BT unit is, BT plus them to death, they will die. Guaranteed. They don't have that much HP. These people also cannot be launched. Yeah. Yeah. If anybody was hoping to Sid Reigns anything, or Selfie anything, no. You actually have to bring in the big guns, the people who can actually do damage. I put together this team. It's completely irrelevant because it was like what I had for like 2 and 2, I believe 2 guns and 2 yellow units with 1 and 1, just to get the most amount of points based on what I had left. Because this multiplier is pretty meh, so you really don't want to leave the big multipliers for these. Pointless. But I also didn't want to lose out on too many points. And unfortunately, Cater and Arthur and yeah, there it is. I also brought the big shebang here with Sid Reigns and everybody, and then I figured out, oh, they can't be lost. By the way, if you look at their HP, you will see that they are already like pretty bloody low. Now the reason why I decided to actually BT is because of this thing right here. He countered. They both countered Baltier, and I was like, huh? Huh? You want to counter me? Like, I felt very, very offended. I don't know if that was a threshold attack, and they were like, once we get below 50%, we're removing all of your buffs, but I was like, F that, and I just decided to auto-duel disrespect them straight out of here, because how dare you? And of course I didn't need to do this. Like, at this point in time, they were overkilled past the couple like the first couple of HP attacks. I really didn't need to do this. This was just me being very disrespectful because I felt like having my box removed. I know I'm a petty bastard. And time to pull off some more bench warmers to take out one stage. Like, at this point in time, just reset and BT plus them to death, because literally a BT plus unit with the 150 stage. This one has the same amount of formation as last time, so I have 2 white crystal units, 2 great swords, 1 gun and 1 red, and yeah, that was pretty much this stage. Of course, I ended up overkilling them. I mean, green unit versus 150 HP. Come on. There was no way they had enough HP to deal with me. So yeah, that was pretty much the run. All of the points to get all of the rewards. And I gotta say, I did enjoy this event. I really hope that they bring back Dare to Defy next month, because this game has been boring as these past few events. Like, it's really been terribly dull. And I know they don't want to be the main game, but you can't be rock bottom either, guys. Like, come on. Come on. Do something. This isn't fun. Yeah. Well, that was it. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.